this is just gross. Do you want to know how petty the President of the United States is? This petty. This is something that he published the other day regarding the controversy going on between him and the governor of the state of Maine. For those of you that don't know it, the governor of Maine had originally refused to enforce an executive order prohibiting the participation of trans athletes in female sport. Eventually, Maine backed off, but that was not enough for this petty man. And that's when his tiny little hands decided to post this. In it, the President of the United States is demanding what he calls a full-throated apology by the governor of Maine for her expressing her opinion. And he's saying that he wants that apology before this case can be settled, which implies before federal funds can be released to Maine. So let's see what the Constitution says. What you see behind me is known as the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, and essentially says that the federal government holds the purse strings of any funds that are being released by the federal government to states. And in 1987, in this Supreme Court decision, the Supreme Court basically said, yes, the government can attach conditions to the release of those funds. But the Supreme Court in this same decision also identified the limits of what those conditions may look like. They must be related to the federal interest in a specific program, they must be clearly stated, and just as importantly, they cannot be coercive. Now, I hate to have to point that out to the President of the United States, but when the governor of Maine said what she said, which incensed Trump to the point that he had to write this, she was doing nothing but expressing her opinion. And at least until today, expressing one's opinion is nothing but an exercise in your First Amendment rights. And for the President of the United States to demand an apology from the governor before those funds can be released serves absolutely no purpose other than inflating his own ego. And that, at my house, is called coercion. So in my opinion, this is not a lawful order. It's a tantrum by a vindictive man, and as such, it defies common sense and it violates the Constitution. But by now, I don't think anybody's surprised anymore.